This is going to be a short video to introduce this brand new assignment. Hopefully people have played Tic-Tac-Toe before. If you haven't, feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to play around with you. But yeah, Tic-Tac-Toe is a game that a lot of us have probably played in elementary school. It's it's this game right here where you have two players and they take turns trying to get 3 in a row. So that's pretty much Tic-Tac-Toe. We have an assignment here. The goal of this project is to finish 3 methods. So most of the code is already written for you, by the way. I wrote like probably 70% of the code for you guys, for you folks. So all you have to do is finish 3 functions, 3 methods. Let me go ahead and download the starter code real quick. Download. Okay, so yeah, here's the code here. Let me go ahead and move it to the directory. I'll probably move this into my CS-12J directory and make a whole new folder for this, just to keep things organized. Okay, cool. Just made a whole folder for it. Let me go ahead and open it in VS Code and introduce folks to this. Basically, we're just gonna do this part in red. This is one of the biggest hints I want to give folks. Before coding anything, I highly recommend just spending a bit of time studying how the things are laid out. Alright, enough code is included, so it does compile and run, but it's unfinished. So you'll see when we run this. Okay, let me load up my VS Code over here. Okay, cool. And I put in my projects, project 7, Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay, so here's a bunch of code here. Let me collapse this real quick and run the code. I'm just gonna collapse some things just to make it a little easier to understand. Let's see, let me collapse this. Collapse this comment and the method. Collapse. Okay, I'm just gonna collapse everything except the main. So let me go ahead and run this real quick so people see what the current state of the program is. Okay, so I need a CD, change directory into projects. We go into project 7, and then it should be there. Okay, cool. So you should be able to run it, and you'll see the state of the game right now. So Java Tic-Tac-Toe, Java, and go ahead and run it. Okay, cool. So this is the first thing I recommend folks to do, kind of just running the program and studying what's happening, like tracing through the code. So the main is the entry point to the program, meaning that this is the first statement that happens. This statement right here is declaring a nested array. Well, we've seen this stuff from last week. You can think of it as a nested or a two-dimensional array. It's 3 by 3 and it's all zeros. All right, but then we start the game, and there's a method here called draw board. So let's see what this is doing. This method is up here. It's all collapsed right here. So it's right here. There's a comment and a method here. You'll see that the method is currently hard-coded. Hard-coded to always print an empty board. So yeah, you can pull the comments here, by the way. These comments are collapsible. So yeah, it's saying it's currently hard-coded to always print an empty board. So part of the assignment is to fix this method to print an actual board. So you'll see what I mean when I type in an actual thing here. Here, let me type something. Or actually, no, not yet. Let's trace this real quick. So we drew the board. It displayed an empty board. Okay, which makes sense so far. And down here we declare player to 1. This is initializing, and then here we're initializing input to get ready for the player to type something. All right, and then here's a tricky part that folks should probably spend a bit of time studying. There's this nested while loop over here. The nested while loop, there's an outer one and an inner one. The point of the outer while loop is to loop a round A round is considered a player putting a piece down or putting their mark on the board. So that's considered one round. And this inner loop right here, it's a different purpose. It's forcing the user to type in a legal move. That's what's happening here. So here, let's trace through this. So here it says while game is not over. People remember this exclamation mark. It's a negating. It's like a negative sign. It's negating a Boolean value. So this is saying while game is not over, play a single round. And once again, I'm considering a single round to be asked for one move from the player. So this method is actually already written for you. This is game over. You'll see this if you scroll up a bit. So you scroll up a bit, there's a method called is game over. This is already done for you. You can open it up if you want. So the game, the method takes a two-dimensional array and it goes through the board to check if the game is over. So this first if statement, if you're curious what's happening, it's checking if there's a winner. Alright, so it checks if player 1 or 2 won. Right, so if player 1 or player 2 won, then this returns true, meaning that the game is over. So if that returned true, this would become false. You know what I mean? Because this exclamation mark makes it negates it. So if this whole thing becomes false, then the whole game is over. Right? The whole game is over. So we're gonna go down over here. Okay. Anyways, let me just comment this over here. So this method is very done for you. It does rely on a helper method that you have to complete. This helper method is called winner. That's up here. This is incomplete. So you can take a look at this later. This winner. But this second loop is a little tricky to understand. If you're curious what this is saying, it's saying check for an empty spot. That's what this inner loop is saying. It's doing a two-dimensional iteration, and it's pretty much saying if there's an empty spot, then the game is not over. So return false means to quit the method all the way down to here. Alright, so just kind of explaining this code over here. So game is not over. We see that there's a print statement. Player, what's your move? So this line right here is producing this output over here. See, it's saying player 1, what's your move? I do want to point out this sigil thing here. People might be wondering, oh, what is sigil? Well, can you kind of tell by looking at the output? Right, the output is right over here. So what we see that sigil player is giving us something in between the parentheses. And what's player? A player is an integer. It's an integer. So we can kind of tell that sigil is allowing us to convert a number into a character. All right, and you can verify that by looking at what sigil is. It's all the way at the top of the file. So all the way at the top of the file, you'll see there's a hard-coded array. The whole point of this is just to map numbers, meaning that 0 is considered a period, player 1 is considered an X, and player 2 is considered an O. So this array just kind of helps translate numbers to characters. All right, let me scroll down a bit. Cool, so once again, we're tracing code. Here we see there's two integers that are gonna be taken from the input. So that's right here. We're currently stuck on this line, waiting for the user to type in a row. All right, so it is possible to type in two things at once. Like if you did like 0 space 2, you might remember that this method next integer it tokenizes based off white space. So this first line is going to consume the 0, and then this next line consumes the 2. All right. Just real quick, do people see what I'm trying to do though? Like 0 space 2. Where am I trying to put my x? For the sake of this assignment, we're considering it rows and columns. So 0, 2, I'm attempting to put an x right over here. Right, because the 0th row and then the 2th column. All right, so let me go ahead and press enter. When I press enter, these two statements will finish. All right, so let me press enter. Okay, cool. So those two statements finished. Don't worry about what's going on down here yet. We'll trace it slowly. All right, so these two finished, and then now we see there's a inner while loop. We can tell this inner while loop didn't happen. So the point of this inner while loop is to force the user to type in an actual valid move. All right, but we can tell it didn't happen because this print statement never printed. All right, which is fine because 0, 2 is a legal move. So it's totally fine. Anyways, the point is this didn't happen. The whole point of this, let me comment it. This inner loop forces the user to type a valid move. All right, it relies on a method that isn't done yet. There's a method called isMoveLegal, and then that's up here. There's a method here called isMoveLegal, and yeah, you can take a look at it. It's hard coded to always return true, meaning it's considering every single move to be legal. So you have to fix this. You can take a look at the comment for some hints. There's a comment over here. Let me collapse it. All right, so yeah, this inner loop didn't happen, meaning we went down here. All right, what is happening here, folks? Can anyone tell? So this is assigning. It's saying put a number in the two-dimensional array. All right, that's what it's trying to do. So it's basically saying put a 1 over here. All right, there is a 1 there, but when we draw the board, it prints it as empty. All right, so what's happening there? Here, you know what? Let me back up a bit. I'm gonna do some more comments in case folks. So this line right here is placing a number in the board. All right, it's placing a number. Player is a number, and then the board is two-dimensional, so we're putting it in the row and column. All right, and just a quick hint: the board is all integers. So let me so when we draw this board over here, what happens? Well, you might remember that this method is not done yet. So this, if you take a look at the draw board, this method is not done yet. It's always going to print an empty board. The reason why is because it's not even using this argument here. This argument contains data on where the players are, but you can tell that the method body is totally ignoring the board. So if you could update this to use the board and print out all of the actual elements, you'll see there's going to be an X here. All right, so let me scroll down a bit more. Cool, so you have to fix this method. And what's happening over here? Can people kind of see what's happening in this line? This is switching players. Switching players, because a player is a number. So if player is 1, 3 minus 1 becomes 2. So player becomes 2 here. And then on the next iteration, 3 minus 2 becomes 1. So this line is pretty much just flip-flopping back and forth between player 1 and player 2. All right. So here, let me quit this game over here because it's gonna go on forever because the game is not done yet. You can do like 1 space 2. So 1 space 2 I'm here in the line. I'm waiting here. So if I did 1 space 2, I'm attempting to put a circle right here. But when I press enter, nothing happens. There is an invisible number 2 behind it, because the board is represented as integers. So there is a 2 behind it. You'll just have to reveal it somehow. All right. So let me introduce one more thing. Talk about this inner loop one more time. So this inner loop has never happened yet. It's supposed to happen during certain scenarios, like if I did an illegal move. 0, 3 is an illegal move. You see what I mean? 0, 3 is an illegal move because this is outside of the bounds. But when I press enter, let's see what happens. Okay, I press enter, and we get an exception. So it's the program crashed, which is a bad sign. Right? The program crashed, and the reason why it crashed is because this inner loop never happened. We typed in 0 for the row, typed in 3 for the column. All right, this inner loop didn't happen, so we ended up doing something dangerous here. Right? We ended up trying to put a number in a position that doesn't exist. See, we typed in 3 here. 3 doesn't exist because we're starting from 0, 1, 2. So the program actually failed probably right here in line 93, or here it's saying line 89. So it's saying 89. Oh wait, it failed right here. It should not have failed right here. That's kind of weird. Let me run this again. It should not have been line 89. It should have said 93. Let me save it. Let me rerun this. Oh, it's cause I added some extra comments, so that changed the line numbers. Let me run it again. So let me type in an out of bounds move, like 5 space 0. This is totally out of bounds. Press enter, and the program crashes on line 93. Right, so line 93 is right here. We attempted to put a number in a position that doesn't exist. Right, 5 is not a valid row, so the program crashes. If you were to fix this method, this is move legal, then you'll see this inner loop start happening. This inner loop needs to happen if a player does an illegal move. All right, so this function relies on, this inner loop relies on this method, is move legal, which is up here. All right, so is move legal, right over here. This is currently hard coded to always return true, meaning that every single position is a valid move. All right, so yeah, I highly recommend taking a look, studying through this code a bit. I kind of went through it really fast just to give folks a head start. But yeah, in red, before coding anything at all, just try to understand the design decisions behind this. All right. I'll have some sample test cases here. Basically, when your program is done, you can play against yourself to see who wins. All right, and in future directions, I'm planning on releasing this assignment again in a different style. So this style is, we'll talk about some object-oriented programming, which it's pretty much going to make your program a lot more modular and reusable. Right, so this will make more sense when I release the next assignment, or take a look at the next video, and I'll talk about this a bit more. All right, so that's it for this project. It's really to get folks practice with nested arrays. That's really the whole point of this. Right, there is a learning curve to this project. The learning curve is, well, I'm giving you like 100 lines. I pretty much wrote 100 lines for folks. The learning curve is kind of adapting to the code. In a lot of scenarios, like say you start working at a software engineering company, A lot of the tasks will be they're gonna throw you in a code base and expect you to adapt from there. So this is kind of like that. Right? I'm kind of throwing you into code base and seeing if folks can adapt from there. Right? Adapt means fix these methods so the main can work. All right. So yeah, that's it for this assignment. Let me know if you're having trouble with this, that this is one of the trickier ones. Feel free to post a discussion if you have any issues. Okay, but that's about it for this really short video. In the next video, I'm gonna go over a brand new topic called classes. So stay tuned for this. Ideally, you'll want to watch this video after you successfully complete this project. Okay, let me go ahead and move on to the next recording.